Data breaches are becoming more common. Understanding data security is crucial for protecting sensitive information.
Hi, you're welcome. I'm Sam Magic at Cyber Deep Dive Academy, where your data will never and ever sleep. In this video, I'm going to explain the concept and the practices behind data security. Do you know where your data are being stored? Do you have access to social media? Do you have access to the data place where you store or you keep or you give your information to companies, organizations, applications, softwares that you log in and understand? Don't know how your data are being exposed and how they are being saved or they are being kept secretly. In this lesson, I will explain everything to you for you to understand how data is being kept and stored separately. Data security is the foundation of modern cybersecurity. In this lesson at Cyber Deep Dive Academy, we break down data security in a simple and practical way, explaining how organizations protect sensitive information from unauthorized access, breaches, and cyber attacks. You will learn how data is secured while it is being stored, why it is being moving, or when it is being going across the network. Also, how the data is being used in most companies. This lesson will help you for you to understand data security. Also, we also have a way on how data is being hot accessed and being controlled in the organizations where your personal identifiable information or your PHI that is protected have information are being stored, how they are being encrypted, how they are being monitored, and the best practices that the real organizations used to keep your data safe. Think of data security like protecting your Vavavu safe in your house or your room. Remember the house. You lock the doors, you put in security cameras, you control who has the keys to your sensitive part or your secret places where your asset and your valuable items are being kept. You watch for any intruder or thieves or armed robbers or attackers or intruders or unauthorized access to your house. You watch for all those places and those security zones, and you secure your items very well in the place where even some of your family members cannot get closer to it. The same thing happens to the organizations, the companies that keep your data and store them in a safe place. That is what we are going to learn in this video. In cybersecurity, we do the same thing with data using some technical tools and some administrative or controls. This video that you are going to watch is a perfect for beginners who are now starting or entry-level people who are getting into the cybersecurity career. Students who are preparing for certifications and exams, this video will also help you for you to understand what is data security. And anyone trying to start a career in cybersecurity, this video will help you very well. What are you going to learn here? You learn what is data security, how data is being controlled, how data is being stored, how data is being deleted, how data is being processed, and other stuffs. We will get more and more knowledge about this lesson when you sign up into my entry-level class. I'll take my time to do the magic for you to learn from the known to the unknown. I don't care about who you are and what you have already. I take my time to teach you for you to understand. Let's get back to the class and watch this video as I've already prepared. And if you want to know more and learn deep and dive deep, sign up to Cyber Deep Dive Academy, and Sam Magic will do the magic for you when it comes to your career path in cybersecurity. He will mentor you, he will shape you, he will form you, he will mold you, and then he will make sure that he will place you on the right path so that you don't get lost in your professional growth or development in your cybersecurity career. Let's dive deep and see the magic happening.
All right, let's talk about data security. It's a huge topic and it affects, Well, pretty much everything we do online. So let's jump right in and break down what it is and why you absolutely need to care about it.
I mean, just take a second and think about this. How much of your life is actually stored online? Your photos, your private conversations, your bank details, your work. There's basically a digital version of you out there, and it's growing every single day.
Yeah, all that stuff, it's not just valuable to you. It's a goldmine for other people. And because of that, it's constantly, and I mean constantly, at risk. So, what are we actually talking about when we say data security? At its core, it's the whole playbook, right? It's all the strategies, all the tools we use to protect our digital info from anyone who shouldn't be seeing it, stealing it, or messing with it. Okay, to really get why this is so important, we have to look at the flip side. What happens when things go wrong? Let's talk about the high cost of insecurity, because the stakes, they're way higher than you'd think.
You've probably heard these terms thrown around: hacking, ransomware, phishing. They're not just scary-sounding words from the news. They're the actual tools of the trade for criminals trying to get at your data.
And when one of these attacks hits, the fallout can be just devastating. We're talking about real money being lost. The average cost of a breach for a company is now over $4 million. But it's so much more than money. It's your privacy getting completely compromised, which can lead straight to identity theft. For a business, the reputation can be shattered. And then there are the massive legal fines from laws like GDPR in Europe. It's a nightmare scenario. And this really hits on a key point. It's not just about the data or the money. It's about trust. Once a company loses its customers' trust, well, getting that back is incredibly hard, if not impossible. But wait, there's another piece to this puzzle. It's not just about stopping bad guys from getting in. It's also about making sure the data itself stays accurate and consistent. This is called data integrity. Think about it. If your data gets secretly changed even a little bit, it could lead to some really, really bad decisions.
So, we've seen the dangers. The big question is, how do we actually fight back? The answer isn't some single magic bullet. It's about building a digital fortress, layer by layer. And that fortress, it's basically built on 3 core layers. You've got the physical security, the actual hardware. Then there's network security, how it all connects. And finally, application security, the software you use every single day.
Let's start with layer 1, physical security. Our defense has to start in the real world. Before we can even think about protecting data in the cloud, we have to lock down the actual physical computers and servers where it lives.
So what does that look like? It means controlling exactly who can physically get near the hardware. We're talking key cards, biometric scanners, you name it. It means having cameras and monitoring those places 24/7. And, this is a big one, making sure that when you get rid of old computers or hard drives, the data on them is completely destroyed so no one can just pull it out of a dumpster.
All right, so the hardware is secure. Now what?
We have to protect the data while it's moving, zipping across company networks or the wide open internet.
This brings us to layer 2, network security. And the absolute first line of defense here is the firewall. Think of it like a bouncer at a club for your network. It stands at the door, checks every piece of data trying to come in or go out, and if something looks sketchy or isn't on the list, it gets rejected. It's that critical wall between your safe internal network and the wild internet. And if you're working from a coffee shop or from home, a VPN is a non-negotiable. What a VPN does is create a secret, encrypted tunnel for all your internet traffic. It basically makes your connection invisible and scrambles your data, so even if someone tries to eavesdrop, all they'll see is gibberish.
Okay, let's peel back another layer and get a bit more technical. We need to talk about securing the code itself and the powerful keys we use to lock everything down. And that brings us to our third and final layer, application security. This is all about the apps, the websites, the software we're all using. Why is this so crucial? Because a single weakness here can be like a secret backdoor, letting an attacker waltz right past all your other defenses.
So, how do you secure an app? It's really a 3-part strategy. First, developers have to write code with security in mind right from the start. Second, you have to constantly update that software, patching up any holes that are discovered. And third, for us as users, it means turning on multi-factor authentication, or MFA. That's that extra step, like a code sent to your phone that proves you really are who you say you are. Now, a huge part of this is encryption, which is basically the art of scrambling data so it's unreadable. There are 2 main flavors. First, you have symmetric encryption. It uses one single key to both lock and unlock the data. It's super fast, which makes it perfect for encrypting massive things, like a whole hard drive.
Then there's asymmetric encryption. This one's clever. It uses a pair of keys, a public key that anyone can use to lock the data, but only you, with your private key, can unlock it. This is what makes things like secure email possible. But, just locking the data up isn't enough. We also have to be super careful about who gets the keys in the first place. That's where something called role-based access control, or RBAC, comes in. The principle is simple but powerful. You only get access to the information you absolutely need to do your job. Period. Nothing more. Here's a simple example of how that works. A person in sales probably needs to see customer information, right? But they should have zero reason to access the company's confidential financial reports. A manager, on the other hand, might need to both see and edit that customer data, and maybe they need to view the financials. See how it works? Access is tied directly to your role. This massively cuts down on risk.
All right, let's wrap this up and talk about the big takeaway. Data security isn't a one-and-done kind of thing. You can't just set it up and walk away. It is a constant, ongoing mission. It requires you to always be watching, always be adapting.
So what's your checklist? First, always remember your data is a target. Second, build that fortress with many layers, physical, network, and application. Third, use the powerful tools we talked about, like encryption and strict access controls. And finally, and this is so important, always have backups. Backups are your ultimate safety net when everything else fails. As our world gets more and more digital, the threats just keep evolving right alongside it. We've got new challenges coming up, like AI and even quantum computing, that are going to change the game completely. So that leaves us with one final big question to think about. What do you think the next frontier for data security is going to be?